Hello and welcome to All Box Spain Health and Wellbeing. I'm Craig. It's Sunday, the 21st of February 2021. And today, my guest on the show is Toni Harrington from Slimwell Spain. Today, we're going to be talking about weight loss. And Toni's got extensive experience in dealing with that. And we're going to talk and delve deep into what Toni does and how she does it, her successes. And indeed, if you need to contact Toni, how at the end of the show. We'll make sure we've got all that on. Remember the show, the All Box Health and Wellbeing show is all about health and wellbeing. There's no hidden agenda. I'm trying to get as many subject matter experts out there as I can together to provide you with information and advice to make you realize that the answer is not always a man in a white coat with a stethoscope around his neck or in the bottom of a bottle of pills or alcohol. There's lots of holistic therapies out there. There's lots of professionals all raring to go to help us with our health and wellbeing. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome you, Toni, on joining the show. Thank you very much for joining.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Pleasure.
So, Toni, if we start off by introducing to the audience who you are, what do you do, what's your speciality, and a bit about your background, please.
Okay, so Slimwell Spain is the business that I run here in Spain, and literally I set that up before we moved out from the UK. So I was ready to go. Literally the day after I arrived, I opened my first group in All Box. I did 10 years with the largest slimming organisation in the UK, where I got very, very good training, good sort of nutritional grounding and everything like that. I do actually also have experience as a trained counsellor. So that kind of helps in the group situation where you're trying to help people sort of face up to the behaviour changes they need to make.
Sure.
It can be some things, you know, not just the mindset, but, you know, how they think about when they're shopping, not going shopping when you're hungry as an example, and things like that, because it makes you put all the wrong things in the trolley. but so, and moving out to Spain, I didn't want to retire. And my big sort of pull, if you like, for maybe not leaving the UK was the fact I enjoy so much what I do. So just decided to carry on, but under my own sort of branding.
Fantastic. So you're, am I right in saying, a weight management consultant? Would that be right?
Yeah, absolutely right.
It's not all about weight loss, is it? I'm sure there are people out there who have challenges in putting on weight. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I do have some people that come that don't necessarily want to lose vast amounts of weight. They want to learn to eat in a more healthy way. And sometimes it's the way they cook, you know, using less fat in the cooking and things like that. We do need a certain amount of fat. You know, there's people can be very polarized, and it's just teaching them that you can eat really, really well, and you can still have chocolate and a glass of wine or whatever. You just factor it all in. It's about everything in moderation.
Absolutely. And we'll come on to moderation in a bit. That is very important. So 10 years, quite a long time, to be fair. And I'm familiar with your group over here, and I'm familiar with the success of your group over here. And that kind of led me to inviting you on the show, because I thought, you know, part of health and well-being, because it can impact both. Being a weight that we're not happy with, it can affect us physically, but also mentally, you know, with our mental health. So I thought, I know just the person to ask, hence you being here. So can I ask, what got you into this? What put you into this profession? What put you into this choice? Why weight control? Why helping people lose weight?
Well, what it was that I was overweight myself. I was 5 sizes larger than I am now. And it was a photograph that somebody sent me. I was going to a black tie do, so the picture of me standing outside the venue with my long dress on and me fancy coat. And I looked and I thought, oh my God, I can't believe that that's me, you know, because that gradually the sizes went up, you know, and I'm still the same human being I was when I was overweight, and I'm still able to kid myself if I don't practice all the things that, you know, that I picked up over the years, which is like to keep a positive mindset and all that. So that photograph was the thing that sort of made me think, I'm going to have to do something about this. And I had done pretty well every other kind of a diet that there was. And when you think about doing a diet, it's something that you're on and off. Whereas the path I chose to take was a lifestyle change. you know. And so I joined, I always give them the credit, I joined Slimming World in the UK.
Sure.
And I had a fantastic consultant called Anita, and I remember watching her and thinking, oh God, I'd love to do that. And I just inquired with them, you know, about the chances of doing my own group. And literally 6 months after I had started as a member, I opened my own group, and I had 8 sessions in the UK across 4 groups. And here in Spain, I've got 3 groups. So we're quite happy.
Wow. So you've come onto this journey because of your own personal journey, your own story, and you want to take what you've learned and help people like you basically helped yourself. I mean, it's good to see someone who promotes something and who deals with something, who's been on that journey. They've been on that, like you really importantly said, that lifestyle change. I joke with people that the first 3 letters of diet are die. And you're right. It's the lifestyle change. And
dare I eat?
Pardon?
I say it stands for dare I eat that diet.
Very good. And I can totally relate to going shopping when you're hungry. I go out shopping. I tag along with the chief, the good lady, Angie. And when I'm hungry, it's dangerous. But when I've just been fed, it's almost like I'm proper not interested. I'm like a fed puppy. I'm like, what do you want for dinner tonight? Well, yeah. It's that's a good thing as well. So what type of people have you found? You briefly touched on it, Toni. What type of people have you found that come to you for help? Is it just women? Because that's a myth, right? I mean, just women go to slimming groups and weight management groups. I hear guys say it all the time. Oh, yeah, women go to that, women. But I know that you've got guys subscribed to what you do as well, haven't you?
Yeah. So, you know, the men are welcome. They don't tend to kind of enjoy it the same way as the women, if I'm honest. So a lot of the men that I have members are online. So I'll do Zoom with them rather than them being sitting in a group with other people. Because I've got members all over the world. I've got 2 members in the States. I've got 1 in Australia. Wow. I've got lots of them in the UK. So it's not just the live members here in Spain. I've got the virtual as well, which is fantastic. And because I advertise on a radio station here as well, and they get UK listeners, I've had inquiries through that from people in the UK. So that's been quite interesting.
It's just word of mouth. People are word of mouth. People are recommending you through word of mouth, and your group, your little empire is growing. That's great to hear. And do the people come to you with the same sort of thing? Is it mainly a weight loss challenge, or is it just healthy eating? I know you said a couple come just for the healthy eating aspect, which is great.
Yeah, most of it is people who need to lose weight, and most of them are UK expats that have come because the relaxed lifestyle here has resulted in them sitting around a lot more than they did when they were in the UK. Some of them are people who have retired, so now they're not working, they're not so active. And activity is something that I really try and bring into it as well. Because we give out awards for weight loss, but we also give out awards for activity as well. So they have an activity log, and they can start as low as they want. So there's various levels, you know. There's the rookie level, and they're all military ranks in my exercise awards.
Brilliant.
And those have proven quite popular, where people like to see something for their efforts, you know. I was always one that I used to like stars in my book at school or certificates for things, and that really does help people. They look for the next
sergeant and sergeant major and things like this, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, very good. Very good. I like that. So you spoke about what I'm interested in the audience hearing. I know about this, but I'm really interested in hearing it from you. Is it's not all about eating less, is it, to lose weight? In fact, I'll let you tell me. Should we be eating less, or should we be eating more of the right thing?
Definitely more of the right thing. And I would say that 9 out of 10 members say, I'm eating far more since I've started this than I was eating before. And what I try and drive home to people is that it's about getting your metabolism going. A lot of people who are overweight are not necessarily ones that are eating vast amounts of food. They're eating probably moderate amounts of the wrong stuff, and not eating until much later in the day. They don't have breakfast, and they, you know, sometimes don't have anything till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So you know how they always say that a breakfast sets you up for the day. Anything that you get down yourself in the morning, even if it's just something small like a yogurt or a piece of fruit, will get that system going. And you know, then you get hungry again sooner, and then people think like, but if I'm hungry again, I'm not going to lose any weight. But if you think of like a steam train, say, you've got to keep chucking the coal into it, otherwise it stops, and your metabolism is exactly the same.
Like
so you've got to eat regularly of the right stuff.
And I think, you know, when you eat less, you're also depriving your body of really important nutrients and macronutrients, micronutrients as well, aren't you? And protein, and that's really important. And I think as well, when you don't eat enough, am I right in saying that the body goes into like starvation mode and thinks, oh, don't know when my next meal's coming, so I'm going to store that fat as opposed to burn it? Is that right?
Absolutely right. And people get so disappointed. They say, well, I haven't had anything bad this week, and I haven't done this and I haven't done that. And I said, listen to what you're telling me, what you haven't had and what you haven't done. I said, and that's not sounding like a happy person. You know, you've got to love what you eat. It's got to be enjoyable, because otherwise it's not sustainable. And I used to have, you know, members, I used to see the same people year after year. They wouldn't stick with it. They come and get it off to get, you know, look nice for a holiday or a special occasion, and then they disappear again, and then they come back bigger than I saw them before. And you know, so that was like doing a diet instead of embracing the whole lifestyle change and keeping it off, basically. Because when you get to your chosen weight, then you come to group and you don't pay. You know, it's completely free, as long as you're £3 under or £3 over that weight. And that is because I have a duty of care to protect people not to go too far as well, because I have that as well where people are going too thin. And so I'll say to them, no more.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I don't set a target weight for people, they choose it.
Yeah, that's great. And I like the idea about, I love the rank thing. I think that's because I'm ex-military, but I think that's really cool. And they're incentives, aren't they? They're giving people incentives. But I like the words you used there, the lifestyle choice words. And I love the sustainable word, because anything in life, there is no point doing it unless it's sustainable, is there? You know, because otherwise they just become fads and we start to yo-yo, and it's just not good for the body, is it? You know?
So and anything that's is too hard to stick with. It has to be flexible. It has to fit in with the life that you lead, because if it doesn't, you're not going to stick with it, you know. But you can eat out on our planet. You can still drink alcohol if you want to. You can still eat chocolate if you want to. You can still eat biscuits if you want to. It's about not drinking the bar dry. It's about not eating the whole packet of biscuits every day, and so on. So it is really about moderation and getting adventurous with your booze.
And how do you do that, Toni? Do you have meetings? I know you have meetings, and you're kind of like a friendly social environment, but you're educating your clients, if you want to call them clients. You're educating your clients into how to eat healthy and how to, like you said, love what they eat, as opposed to go through this process of deprivation. That's not the idea, is it? It's to love what you eat and make them lifestyle changes that are really good for you. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely right. And you'll also get people arrive with very sort of preconceived ideas, and they'll say, oh, well, I don't like any salad and I don't like any vegetables. When I joined in the UK as a member at Slimming World, I was a very, very fussy eater, I would have said. But then one of the best hints, because the beauty of a group is that that's where all the ideas come from, because although I've had a lot of training and I know my plan inside out, I don't always have all the answers, because I don't like fish much. So if people are looking for a fish dish, I'm not your woman to ask, but there will be somebody in the room that, you know, will make a fantastic paella or whatever it is they make. So, so basically, one of the best hints that was ever given to me was to go through your book and highlight all the things that you do like. So instead of thinking, well, I don't like, oh, well, I don't like that, so I won't be able to do this. I do like that, so I will be able to do this. You know, so there's so much choice. It absolutely works for everybody. It really does. And I absolutely love every second of what I do. It's not like going to work.
And that's so important. That's so important. Someone once said, didn't they, if you're happy in what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. and that sounds like what you're achieving. So your group sessions, I wanted to ask, are they an important part of weight loss? That mutual support, is that an important part of weight management? Do you find that effective when you're sat with each other and sat with like-minded people who are facing the same obstacles as you?
Absolutely. And it is such a safe environment for you to be able to talk about, what you found difficult. And, sometimes, weight gain is kind of an emotionally driven thing as well. Sometimes, when we're stressed, we eat the wrong things, or if we're sad, we might choose the wrong things. So if somebody's going through a bit of a crisis, they can actually offload a little bit about what's going on. And there will be somebody else in the room who's maybe been there. As a good example, I've got a couple of members who are in the same group where both of their partners have got real dementia issues. And that can be a really, really hard place to be. But now they've got each other, they're absolutely flying along. They're doing so well because they can actually, offload and support each other, where you truly understand what that person's going through, because we can't always know what everybody's going through,
Absolutely.
But it is such an important part, that the group support, knowing that you're in a place with like-minded people who all want the same thing and they're happy for you when you achieve it. There's none of that, oh, look at her, the skinny mini, and I've failed this week and I'm so upset with her. It's like, oh, well, aren't you amazing? Right, I'm having a go at that. It spurs them on, It
and
really
I suppose
does.
That mutual support's really important. Like you said, you've got clients all over the world, which is fantastic, and their mutual support is basically you. I suppose if you try and do this journey on your own, I'm not saying it is impossible, but I would say, from what I'm hearing from you, that it can be a lot easier when you're surrounded by people with those challenges, who are on the same road, who have the same issues, who actually could have a harder time than you. And then you realize, well, actually, they're still keeping their chin up. I need to keep my chin up. I would imagine they bounce off each other, kind of thing. Would that be right?
Absolutely right. And you can have somebody who's had a really, really tough week and perhaps didn't even want to come to the group. But once they're sat with those other people, and those other people are going, come on, girl, or come on, chap, you've got this, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to text you on Wednesday, because you always say that Wednesday is the day it all goes wrong. So I'm going to text you on Wednesday to see if you're all right. And it's lovely, it's like, I am a bit of a mother hen with them all, to be honest, but it's lovely to see them all just really supporting each other and loving their results, because I've had so much success here. The member retention is very, very strong here as well, because there's very few people that come that aren't serious about it. They don't just turn up for it to be a social, it is partly a social thing, and some of them will go and have coffee after the groups together or whatever, but they're all quite serious about it, which suits me.
How do you, if you've got the serious people coming, which is fantastic, managing expectations is surely important, I guess. And do some people come expecting, I suppose, both sides of the scale, that they're not going to be able to do it, or come in and expecting that they're going to be losing loads in the first week? Do you have to manage that expectation? Do you have that as a challenge, or?
Not really, because to be honest, I regularly see 4 or 5 pounds off week one with people, and I think it's all relative to the amount that they've got to lose, because somebody who's only got half a stone to lose is unlikely to see that in the first week. They're more likely to see a couple of pounds maybe, and then drop 1.5 pounds to 2 on the subsequent weeks. But I think that, there are people who've done something similar to my plan elsewhere before they lived in Spain, and they sort of come and say, oh, well, I know what to do. And I say, well, you might know what to do, but, make sure you're doing it properly. Make sure you read through your book and you fully check out what you're doing. And, don't have any ceiling on, what you believe you can achieve, So you do sometimes, because I had a big influx of new people at the start of January, and they were like, oh my God, I've lost 5 pounds, in the first week. And I can't believe that, because I've eaten so much food. How did that happen? I said, because you're eating the right stuff, And equally, you'll get people who can be disappointed with the week one results, but find it was something that they thought was okay to have. They made a mistake. There was something they thought was fat-free, wasn't, or so on. And it's the small changes that make the biggest sort of results, if you like, things like removing fat from meat, you know, because everybody loves a bit of pork and crackling, right? But the crackling is just deadly, and you've got to be prepared to count it. And if you wanted to save the bits that we have to count in my plan, we call scorchers, and they're called scorchers. There's like not too much of that. That's how I say it.
Love it.
So you know, if they want to save the scorchers for having a little glass of wine or a gin and tonic or a couple of biscuits or whatever it is they want to have, something has to give. It can't be, you know, the crackling and chips and whatever. You know, you just have to. It's just changing how you do it. So I mean, I had steak
as well as educating people with the educating them how to eat properly, which a lot of people listening probably think they know how to eat properly, and in fairness, some probably do, but then there's probably a large portion that don't, and they may not necessarily be overweight, but they could still be unhealthy because of what they're not eating. But you're teaching people to be accountable, aren't you? You just said there with the scorchers, you're teaching people to be accountable for what you eat. If you have this, then you can't have that and expect to lose. It's one or the other. And by coming to that group mutual support thing, they're kind of not like the embarrassed school kid. That's not fair to say, but they're kind of being accountable. And I know it's between you and them, but they're like, yeah, I actually had this many scorchers, or I went over the top. And by them saying it, they've told you, they know where they've gone wrong, don't they? They've said it. You're holding them accountable.
Absolutely. And the other thing as well, something that I do for struggling members, is that I'll say to them sometimes, why don't you clock off the numbers on the scales, because that's not it. Concentrate wholly on eating well and sticking to the letter of the plan, you know, and doing it 100%. And I will know what your numbers are, but it's what I call a blind way. So they don't see the scales, and I don't write anything in the book. And those results can be really, really good, because they don't wing it, because they don't want to, you know, at the end of the blind way period, which can be 3 or 4 weeks, they don't want to see that they've stayed the same or even put on. So they concentrate much more on it. And it's always lovely. Rarely does anybody fail at that. And, you know, it can be like half a stone. I've had somebody on 4 weeks of blind way lose 10 pounds, and they were like, get in. And Brilliant. It just set them off completely on the right path again. You know, one of your earlier podcasts, You Are What You Eat. Yes. This is another thing that I'm very passionate about, is that when we eat well, we feel well. You said it earlier, it affects everything, you know, mentally and all of that. And what I call good mood food is lots of colour on your plate. So lots of, you know, that's why salads are really good mood food, and sure. and nice fruit salad. And if you're going to make like a nice curry, put loads of like peppers, you know, green and red peppers in it, so it's really nice and bright. And it really, really does change the way you feel when you've eaten it. You know, you've eaten a proper healthy meal, and up here you feel right. You know, when you eat crap, you feel crap.
Absolutely, yeah. Someone once said on a podcast. No, that's right. I like that blind 3 or 4 weeks thing you do as well. I think that's great, because I suppose sometimes people can try too hard, can't they? And I'm not a doctor, but I would imagine that too much stress and thinking too much and panicking too much could possibly affect what happens inside. I don't know, but sometimes people can try too hard, can't they? They're watching every day the scales, which isn't healthy, is it?
Not at all. And I always say to members, you know, please relax about it, you know, because when you're trying too hard at it and it's taking up all your headspace and it's all you can think about, it's not a lifestyle change. You're treating it like a diet, something that you're trying to rigidly stick to. And you know, like, people will have bad days. We're human beings, and it is human to falter at times. So if you have a bad day, it doesn't mean it's a bad week. It's just a bad day. And you know, if you had a bunch of flowers and there was a dead one in the middle, you wouldn't chuck out the old bunch and say, oh, that's, you know, you take the dead one out and enjoy the rest. And it's the same thing, you know, just write that bad day off. And you can choose to have a bad day as well, you know. One of the things with the scorchers, why I say to people to relax, is that we work on 15 a day scorcher count. So me and my husband, we have date day. That's what we were doing yesterday when we saw you. We have date day on a Saturday, and I would allow myself 3 glasses of wine out, and that is 2 days worth of Scorcher done. But I allow that for myself on date day every single week, and I'm quite happy to, and I'm quite happy to drop some on the other days to allow for it, because that's our special day. And it works a treat.
Because to abstain from, it's a fact, isn't it? People like alcohol, people like chocolate, people like pizzas, and to try and abstain from them, like you know, using the sustainable word before, it's not sustainable. And the idea with your Scorchers is great, because you can sort of bank them up, and like you said, you can have your date day, you can have a treat, so you can still eat the chocolate, you can still have the cake, you can still have the ice cream, but in moderation and accountable, in a way that's accountable. So I suppose, go on.
I've got a great recipe as well for a pizza that is absolutely bang on the plan without using any Scorchers at all. And the base is made from cauliflower.
Maybe if you want to share that with us, we can put it beneath the video and put it on there. And when we put all your contact details in, if you're happy to share with it, we could put it in there. Because my next question was going to be, at the moment, the world is going through a horrendous phase, and people are suffering mentally, anxiety, a lot of stress. Part of the reasons that prompted me to do the health and wellbeing channel, to try and get as many experts like you on board to help people, where they don't have to pay to get the initial advice, the initial understanding of what a particular therapy is, but also the anxiety, the stress levels are going through the roof. And at the moment, there's going to be a lot of people out there who will literally be like, what's the point? I'll eat healthy when all this is over. This is crap. I'm living on my own in an apartment. I haven't got dogs. When we're on lockdown, I can't even leave. What's the point? What's the point of eating healthy? So what tips would you give that person? What little nuggets would you give that person as maybe as a wake up? They're overweight. They know they're overweight, but they're putting their head in the sand because of the environment they're in.
Well, I think that if they're feeling like that all that's going to happen is they're going to continue to feel worse, because there has to be the point when you just think, you know what, I need some help. And I've had a big sort of boom in inquiries through COVID because of people feeling a bit rubbish. And I'm very honest as well. When we had the first lockdown here in Spain, I reacted very, very badly to that. I sat around too much. I lay in bed too long. It was
bad, man. It was bad.
Yeah. And I also went to eating some of the wrong things. I started having tea and cake every day, tea and cake every day. And I was having too much bread, and I was having crisps, and I felt so miserable. And I put on 5 pounds in the 11 weeks that we were locked down, and that put me outside my target weight for the first time in 8 years probably. And so I was very, very angry with myself as well. And I thought to myself, you know what? If you can't walk the walk, there is no point in you doing this for your work, because people expect you to be able to walk the walk. So once I knew I was able to open up the groups again, I just got back to it. And this time, with the restrictions that we've had, I just practice positivity every single day. I make sure that I get out and get a good bit of exercise every day. I've signed up to the Conqueror Challenges as well, which is an app that you can get, and they set you, to walk Hadrian's Wall or the Great Wall of China or whatever, and you set the time you're going to do it. I'm a very competitive person. That's why I like listening to your Kelsey's podcast, because I'm so like her. I'm very, very competitive, and if I set myself a goal, I always achieve it. Good. So being active was a big part of that, trying to keep myself mentally well. And I advise anybody to do that. It doesn't have to be running marathons, does it? Every little bit. What about
their food? What tips would you give them with regards to what they're eating? If they know they're eating junk, I'm not trying to give them a one fix, but maybe that little nugget to start them off. Is there any kind of tip you could give them, or advice that would maybe resonate with them, to get them to eat healthy?
Well, I think it's about having a look at everything. If you know that you're eating loads of sort of pastry and things like that, just limit the amount that you have. Nothing is banned. You have to be able to eat what you enjoy. As an example, I love pork pie, but I don't have it very often. And when I have it, I'll factor it in. So it's just about, if you're used to having 4 rounds of toast for your breakfast, what else could you have? Because what's bang on the plan with us is a full English. You just chop the fat off the bacon. So you can have bacon, egg, mushrooms, baked beans. You can have it all, Everybody that joins us as well gets the recipe of the week each week. So that's to inspire them to try something new. So they get it. It's an A4 recipe, laminated in case they're a messy cook like me. So if they spill anything on it, they can just wipe it clean. And then over the weeks, they build up a huge collection, because I don't sell cookbooks or anything like that. This is all stuff that they get as part of their membership. So I just say to people just to think about the way you cook and be honest about what you're having,
Absolutely.
and swapping your drinks around, going to sugar-free drinks and things like that.
Back to accountability. All back to accountability. It sounds fantastic. I'm going to ask you now, obviously staying compliant with GDPR and all that sort of stuff. I'm not making it competitive, but tell us your biggest loser. I know that's probably been copyrighted somewhere, but your biggest person who's lost the most weight whilst they've been with you, Toni. Can you share that with us?
In Spain?
Yes, or ever, because you are the person. So wherever, in general.
Okay, well, in the UK, my biggest loser was 11.5 stones. That was a man. Lost 11.5 stones.
Yeah. 11.5 stone.
Yeah, and he was runner-up in the national Man of the Year competition. Fantastic. Which was fab. And the biggest one I've had here in Spain has been 4.
Wow.
4 stones.
That is an impressive loss as well. And do they still come to club, the person in Spain?
Yes.
I bet they feel fantastic. 4 stone is an incredible amount of weight to lose.
And here's the thing, the people that get to their goal weight and they still come to group, they are the living proof that you can do it and stay there. And that's why people say to me, well, what do you want them people going for? They don't pay, and I said, but they are the lifeblood of every group, because they're the experts in the room. And, I pay them to come because they bring such a lot to the party.
They got their own story, and they are the motivators. They're the people that are going to motivate me when I listen to their story at group, aren't they? They're the ones. What do you mean you were 4 stone heavier? That's amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think. Absolutely. I've got to ask, because I ask all my guests this, and you're a friend as well as a guest. But can you dispel any myths surrounding weight loss or professional weight loss groups like you run? Are there any myths out there that you want to just say, right, this is rubbish? And, because there are myths, aren't there,
Yeah, there are. And the biggest one really is that, oh, my body's getting used to this plan. That's why I'm not losing any more weight. Your body doesn't get used to it. It's a simple science. It's what you eat versus what you burn. But the body does like variety. So you will sometimes get a better loss with more variety, but you won't not lose weight because your body thinks, do you know what? I've had enough of eating these curries. I don't care the fact that they're bang on the plan. I'm not giving away any pounds because I've had enough of them. That is absolutely not the case. The eat less, move more thing actually is a bit of a myth as well. And I'll regularly see that on Facebook where people say, oh, anybody know where there's a weight loss group, I need to lose weight. And then always some wag that goes on and goes, oh, eat less and move more. And I'm thinking that is exactly what you don't want to do, because most of the time when you increase your activity, you need to increase your food to fuel the body for that activity, and of course this is your bag at Old Box, and obviously the other stuff that you do as well with Nutrition Bang, that's like a supplement to, so that means they're still, without having to eat stacks of stuff, they can get all the nutrients they need to be able to do a really great workout for people who are like you, really, because you're very active, aren't you?
Oh, I am, just to be a bit too active sometimes. I totally agree with you though, Toni, on the bit about eat less, do more. I've seen it so many times, and I actually throw it back to them and I say, well, actually, you're being a bit narrow-minded, naive, and you're treating everyone like yourself, because not everyone has the ability to be more active. They may have physical issues. They may not be able to be active. And so you're saying then that weight loss is only open to people who are fully able. That's wrong. Another thing I say that you probably say as well, apart from you are what you eat, but abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym, aren't they? Everyone's got a set of abs underneath. It's just what we choose to put on top of those abs in terms of what we're eating, isn't it? But the do more and eat less, I've heard that time and again. And these people, bless them, they're just not educated. They think what works for them works for everyone. And because they're racing snakes and they've got a high metabolism, they think, well, I can do it. Until, of course, they get older, because our bodies do change, don't they, in terms of metabolism. And, you know, when people get older and they go, oh, right, well, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, but it's still, you know, it must be age. It must be age. That's another myth, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, to an extent, because the metabolism does slow down. But the other thing that women of a certain age as well have a problem, you know, during the menopause, and the metabolism can really slow down. But one of the things that people don't consider too much is the effect of cortisol. That's the stress hormone. So women who are having a hormonal episode, if you like, are stressed. So sometimes this bit of what they call middle-age spread is actually just overproduction of cortisol, which means that the fat's collecting around the middle. But they can combat that by eating well and actually finding ways to relax more. Be it, I mean, my go-to is meditation. I firmly believe in it, but that's not for everybody. But I'll say, even if you're just sitting down listening to some relaxing music with your eyes closed, and just, you know, give yourself some time instead of getting yourself worked up about the fact that you've got this tie around your middle. It will go, you know, it's just about managing it. But I'm having really good results with that as well, to be fair. So, yeah, in terms of myths, I mean, there's loads of them. Oh, you can drink too much water. Now, you can drink too much water, but my average member is not one of them people. So I've gained this week because I drank too much water. Absolutely not. Because if you drink too much water, you will lose it through your waist or through your sweat. Most of the time, people don't drink enough, because you need 6 to 8 mugs or glasses of something every day to stay hydrated, and most people don't have it.
And if you're having that hot climate, certainly over here in Spain, that goes up, you know, because you're dehydrating, just sat doing nothing, just to exist, your bodily functions, you know, and when we have the hot summers here, it's more, isn't it? So Toni, absolutely. You have been a bucket of knowledge, if you don't mind me using that phrase. Lots of useful things. Really interested in the pizza recipe. If we can steal that off you and put that on beneath the video, that would be great. What I'd like to ask now is, because you've taken the time to come and speak to us and give us some advice, them keywords: sustainability, accountability, lifestyle changes, dispelling some of the myths, are really important stuff that I've no doubt the viewers will find interesting, because I certainly have. And I'm in the fitness industry, but I've enjoyed listening to what you've got to say tonight. It's very knowledgeable. And the fact that you're helping people, essentially, you're helping people get to the best version of them, with some great results as well. And the fact that they keep coming says everything that we need to know about what you do. So it's only right now that I now say to you, what if people want to get in touch with you? If they want to get in touch with Toni from Slimwell Spain, like you've said, they can do it internationally. You've got clients in, you know, across the pond in the States and that. So what's the best way they can get in touch with you? And we'll put that on the screen, and we'll also put all your contact details below the video as well.
Yeah, I mean, I get most of it on social media, to be fair, via Facebook. My Facebook advertising has been very successful, but it's mostly word of mouth now as well. But obviously, what I'll do in the comments underneath, I'll make sure that my contact number and my email's there as well, because sometimes people like to have a video call with me before they come to the group, so they can see my face and have a chat with me and that. So that walking in cold can be a big thing for people. It's quite a brave step to walk through the door, you know. Totally. And for some people, they've never struggled with their weight before, and the fact that they have now, because of whether it's lifestyle changes, choices, or the fact that, you know, they're older, menopausal, and they could have been having the same kind of food all that time, but they've just got this little bit of a problem that they need help with. So, and it's just about normalizing it, you know. Well done. You're normal. You just need.
And I think, like you said there, that step through the door is really important, because it's like the old myth with fitness that people don't go to the gym because they think the gym is full of fit people. And it's not the case, exactly. Is it? It's So at Slimwell Spain is your Facebook, I believe, all one word.
Slim well, 2 words, slim well Spain. So 3 words altogether. Slim
Cool.
well Spain.
I'll make sure I get that right, and I'll put that on the screen where you are, and we'll put the other information below. Any last tips from you, Toni, before we say cheerio? Have you got any last tips that you'd like to get across to people? Anything you'd like to say? The mic's yours.
Well, there is never the right time to start. There is never the perfect time to lose weight. There is always, you know, oh, I'll wait till after my wedding anniversary because we're going out for a big meal. I'll wait till after Christmas because we'll be having chocolate. I'll wait till after Easter after we've had the eggs. There's never a right time to come. And if you feel, no matter how little the amount of weight is that you need to lose, you know, if you're struggling to do it on your own, just come, because we have space. We're all COVID secure as well. You know, I only allow 2 people to sit together, and that's only if they're people that are normally mixing together. Otherwise, everybody sits on their own, all socially distanced, with the masks and everything. We've got the sanitizer, and you can have a cover on the scales if you want. A lot of people choose not to because they think that it'll weigh a little bit extra. But, you know, we have all the things to make people feel comfortable. But the biggest tip for me is there is never the right time to start. And if you haven't been able to do it on your own up to now, you're never going to be able to do it on your own. And I'm one of those people that I can't do it on my own. I've got my own accountability partner, and I check in with her every week with my weight.
So guys and girls, you've got it there. There is never the right time to start. And if you haven't done it already and you know you need to, then you're never going to do it on your own. So get in touch with Toni, certainly for the mutual support, the advice, the experience, and the knowledge that Toni has. She's walked the walk, she's been on the journey, and she's still on that journey now, which is really important. You know, she's walking the walk and she talks the talk. As we all know, thank you for tuning in today on this All Box Spain Health and Wellbeing channel. It's the channel that's recently been started to make you aware, to educate, to inspire, and to remind you that there are lots of other treatments, holistic therapies, and all sorts out there with regards to health and well-being. And the answer is not always a man with a white coat with a stethoscope around his neck or in the bottle of a jar of pills. Thank you very much for tuning in to All Box Spain Health and Wellbeing channel. And Toni, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, mate. See you soon.